Let's rock and roll, baby.
Hey everyone, it's Gary Cassidy here from Sportskeeda Wrestling, and as you just heard, and as you can see, I'm joined by a man who, well, it doesn't need any introduction anyway, but it's rude not to give someone one. 6-time IWGP Tag Team Champion, son of the legendary Haku, one half of God, one of, and this I think is something that you can't understate, one of the Bullet Club OGs. If you think of how many people have been in the Bullet Club, to be one of the OGs is no mean feat. It is the bad guy, or the good bad guy. It's Tama Tonga. How's it going, Tama?
Gary, thank you very much for having me here. I'm doing very, very well. What a nice introduction you gave me there, man. All right.
I'm just bringing you up before I bring you right down and interview and hit you with all sorts, man. That's the way we do it here. So, yeah, first thing, I asked how's it going. It seems like you're doing fine. The world right now is a little bit of a mess. We can see what's behind you. I know you've been busy starting your own podcast, Tama's Island, but what's your current situation? Let's start with what continent are you on, and how are you doing in this pandemic?
Yes, Tama's Island podcast. I started because of this pandemic here, residing in the United States, East Coast, down in Florida. I've had a lot of time on my hand, Gary. A lot of time, no international travel right now, and we're keeping everywhere. So I'm trying to fill in my free space here, trying to stay busy, keep my mind focused on our product, and it's been going very well, man.
Excellent. Well, that's the one thing that I love it when my life is made easy and I can be really lazy. We really don't need to go through any of your career because Tama's Island starts at the very start and covers everything. The thing that I always like to give people a hook, I know that you don't need a hook to listen to something, that's got Tama Tonga hosting it anyway. But for me, the very first episode, I was hooked. For a start, you had Karl Anderson as the guest. But the one story that I love that people need to go and check out if you haven't already heard it is Tama Tonga and the Bullet Club t-shirts, the counterfeit Bullet Club t-shirts that you were selling. That is one of my favourite wrestling stories of all time. Absolutely love it. But yeah, how have you found the podcasting thing? I think you're 9 or 10 episodes deep now. Are you enjoying it? Is that a nice escape from wrestling? Or
it's nice, man. It's very nice because I have Ross Berman there co-hosting, and he's able to come up with questions that a lot of the fans have questions about. Like fill in the blanks and gaps between timeline in my time, not only in my timeline, but my time Bullet Club timeline. I'm able to answer a lot of questions that the fans are very interested in knowing and just never thought, and even some that never thought about, so it's been fun. That's what I'm looking for. It's fun. If it's not fun, I ain't doing it, man. But it's been a lot of fun.
Well, that's the thing that you mentioned there, and this was something that was echoed by a guy we just mentioned, Karl Anderson. So the Good Brothers obviously just done their big, blowout interview after their recent, their release, but their 90-day compete clause ending, and they said they needed Ryan Satin there to keep it under control. I think that's very much what Ross does with you. Just along the way, make sure that you get the answers that he wants to get out of you. So it's a really cool situation.
That's right, man.
We mentioned there Karl Anderson and the Good Brothers, two guys that very, very, very well. Interviewed them a couple of days ago, and they said that as soon as the world is open again, they cannot wait to get back to New Japan. So for me, it's it's the kind of thing that I'm like, well, we know why they can't get to Japan right now. We know why you can't get to Japan right now. But when you guys are all back there, are you just all going to be back together and working as one big happy family?
Oh, of course, man. Of course. That's. See, now, I've said this before and I'll say it again, man. This is all, I feel like it's all been planned. I had this planned out with Karl Anderson 5 years ago, man. It was supposed to be only 3 years, but, it kind of extended to 5 years. But that's family, man. Once you're Bullet Club for life, So especially the originals, man. And so I'm looking forward to having them brothers come out to Japan and we can, rock and roll again.
And I need to ask, what do you think of the stuff they've been doing recently? They left WWE 90 days ago, having had the last match. I know that they were only part of it, but your last match is with The Undertaker. You leave 90 days later join Impact Wrestling. They get the eyes of the world on Impact. They're doing their own talking shop of mania stuff. What do you think about what they're doing right now?
I freaking love it, man. I love it. This is the real deal Holyfield, what they're doing. I love it that they're able to come off that such a platform and still rock and roll and still keep moving forward and upward. So, a lot of guys aren't able to do that kind of those kind of moves when they leave a platform such as WWE. But these guys, man, I'm telling you, Gallows taught us well how to hustle. Right? He taught us real well. That's where the whole bootlegging comes from. If it wasn't for Gallows, so I know that those boys will do very well. And being with Impact has been a nice splash on media for them. So I'm really happy about that, man. I'm really happy for the brothers. I'm actually talking to them right now, and the first text I get from Gallows is, "Hey, man, sorry I missed you the other day. When is New Japan opening up again? Do you know?"
Man,
I said, "Soon, man. Soon. Come on, man. Let me get there first before you, man. Come on."
Yeah, soon, but not soon enough. Definitely
Right?
not soon enough. That's the one thing that I think, the perfect statement, I think, for the both of them is they don't leave money on the table. Man,
Yeah.
they know how to make the most of everything.
Yes.
That's another thing that came up that we need to move on to. I need to ask you about this because you're someone on the other side of this. They're obviously, they've got their hands in all the pies right now. But they said to me when I asked the other night, you guys, your Impact contract apparently has a stipulation that you can still work in Japan. They said 100%. And they said, before I even got round to asking this question, they said, we want a working partnership between Impact and New Japan. Now, a lot of people will remember stuff that's happened in the past, but what are your thoughts on any potential working relationship? Impact's got new management that's familiar with New Japan. What would your thoughts be on something like that happening?
I think it'd be great. I think it'd be great to get, a full, just bring out a product out here to the States. It'll be great to have a platform to share that. We used to be on Access. We used to have a regular thing here, but I think with the situation, the world situation and things kind of, taking a turn, I think it'll be good relationship for both. And having the Good Brothers there, somebody that we trust, that worked with us before, that understands New Japan, the ins and outs, could really facilitate things like these, and I think it'll be a great altogether. I would love that.
The one thing they sold me on was they were like, obviously they guys are going to be there and going back and forward, but they said, imagine Tanahashi versus Eddie Edwards in a main event. And I was like, yep, sold. That's a good match right there. And there's plenty more where that came from. If there was a mixing of rosters. So obviously we're going to get into a bit of New Japan, but I've got one question beforehand. I can see that you've shaved the beard off. You used to have a slightly similar look. I never really knew how I felt about this comparison. Obviously, the attire was a bit similar. Everyone always compared Tama Tonga and Roman Reigns. What was that comparison like for you? What do you think of being compared to Roman Reigns?
All positive for me. I don't take, to me, is nothing. And if the fans think so, okay, great. Because he's up there at a level with exposure, and all it does is just put me out there with him. So that's all positivity. It's all good. Love it. I don't have no negative shade to it. We had a little spat back and forth. Yeah, but he knows now I can. Hey, I ain't one to back down. But it's all good. We have that understanding.
That is a match I would absolutely love to see. But if anything came of it, you've got the military background, which is why I believe you wear the kind of military attire. You've got the upper hand there, definitely. You can say, no, that's...
Oh, definitely.
But of course, you're not right now, but you are working in Japan, if we look at things from the outside of the kind of coronavirus pandemic stuff. You are currently, I believe, contracted to New Japan Pro Wrestling. You're one of the OGs of the Bullet Club. There's been a few things going on with the Bullet Club recently, so of course I need to ask you about that. A man who recently seems to have joined someone who you actually have defeated earlier this year in a tag team championship match, I believe. Evil. Was that earlier this year? That was last year.
No, that was last year.
That was last year, man.
That was last year.
So a year and a half ago. So a lot changing that time.
We were feuding for a while. Evil and Sonata, we were feuding. We were feuding for a while, and But we've had our eye on Evo for probably since the beginning of this year, and gotta make moves, man. Bullet Club always gotta make moves for the future.
Well, that was something for me that, the tournament had been building and building and building. And the more it gets in, the more you're going, I've got a feeling Evo is going to be, the dark horse, so to speak, in this one. And that turn, the gesture turning into the 2 Sweet was like the greatest thing ever. I need to ask, what was your thoughts on that moment, how perfectly that was executed?
Oh, I was sitting up waiting on that moment. I loved it. That's the stuff that we, Bullet Club, man, we're known for bringing in guys, especially controversial guys, and Evil was definitely making that moment controversial, So I gotta say, it splashed all over social media, all over media. That was great. I loved it, man. Me and Evil came up together in the system, man. So I know there's a lot there that can happen with Evil. He's got a lot of talent, unexplored talent right now. So I think Bullet Club is going to be the one that's going to push him straight to the top, man.
Most definitely. I can't wait for that. And you might have kind of given away, what I was going to ask next. The one thing that I want to ask you, the Bullet Club, of course, one of the most dominant factions in the history of wrestling. But I think you would forgive me for saying no stranger to power struggles. A lot of different leaders over the years, a lot of people vying for that leadership. There's Evil is here. You've got yourself as well, one of the OGs, one of the few OGs left. And of course, there's Jay White as well. Who's the current leader of the Bullet Club?
I'd say we all are. I'd say we're working as a team. It's a democracy right now. Yeah, it's a democracy because I think we X'd out one leader, and we always had the reputation of one leader goes out, another one comes in. But lately, we've had there's never been a time in Bullet Club like right now where, shoot, you got a guy with 2 straps, the top 2 straps in New Japan. How is he not the leader? How is he not the, but he is our front man right now. And so I gotta say, we got front men to represent the club. I think it's a better term. Instead of saying leader, we got front men, the spearhead, the movement right now. So I'd say, because a leader is all, who's to say that Fowler isn't the leader? Because I look at him as a leader. Who doesn't, how do you know I'm not the leader? I've been in it since day one. So Jay White, the man, was the front man. Now he couldn't, right now couldn't be in Japan because of the whole situation. So we made moves to get us a man to put us in the front, right?
Someone needs to step up. Someone needed to step up, and I guess you've got plenty of soldiers on the front line. I guess that would be a nice way to put it. So I've got one last question for you. Obviously, the way the situation is right now, I'm guessing you're just itching to get back in the wrestling ring. Obviously, you've got, Tama's Island. That's keeping you busy, and hopefully it continues to keep you busy because I love hearing it personally. But when you get back in the ring, I guess you're going to be itching to wrestle someone, and they're going to get a whole lot of brutality coming their way. Who's the one person you want to get back in the ring with?
I don't have a person. I do have a goal. Yeah. I see that Okada put out a new title. Yeah. King of Pro Wrestling title. And that serves my interest a lot. And I think, man, to be the king of pro wrestling, that's a different one in Japan. Something new, something I can definitely put my attention and focus to. It's new. 2020, it's a whole new deal going on, man. I think we have a lot of opportunity here. So I wouldn't say a person, I would say a title. And that King of Pro Wrestling title looks mighty scrumptious.
Most definitely. I love that word for it. That is maybe the best word I've heard to determine the title ever. I think they should rename it to the Scrumptious title. That would be absolutely amazing.
The Scrumptious title.
Excellent, man. Thank you so much. It's been an absolute blast for me, and hopefully we see you back in the ring very soon.
Thank you for having me, man.